Hi everyone. So this is part two of the vlog. I figured I probably don't need to be in the video. You're gonna see some parts of it anyway. So this is our second leg. So we're heading from Hangzhou to this place called Lishui, to a pretty big factory. And you'll see later on they produce for some pretty big brands like Walmart, Reebok, and whatnot, mainly cement shoes. But you will see that the reason that I spend a bit more time in this factory is because they are one of the few that are very comprehensive in terms of that they make a lot of the other, I guess, items that go into the product. So even the packaging and whatnot that you'll see later. So in terms of cost control, they do a very good job, especially when they make for brands like Walmart, which um, moves a lot of pairs of shoes per year. Sometimes more than Nike and some of the other brands because they sell for cheaper, so their um, business is more in volume. So you see first that we're going through to see their materials storage. Right, in the previous video, I've said that the material storage is very important because you get to see how they kind of treat their processes, and you see there that it was pretty clean and well managed. And this is their leather material, and that machine you see there is used to
This is a completed, yeah.
put layers. He's more layers on, and he's showing us some of the material and kind of the process they use to treat it and to make it the color more uniform. And this is where they keep the leather as a separate storage because it needs a different temperature control, humidity control. So this factory has various different processes for this, which is managed pretty well. This is their mold storage, where you see their cutting dices and their different molds are stored here, as they're showing us. And now we're walking to see their other areas. This is mainly for cutting, cutting of the material, especially leather and other things. This is the packaging. We're mentioning that they have enough volume that they even do their own packaging, which helps to control the cost. Instead of going to a supplier, they do it mostly in-house. And you see here they're showing us their printing for the packages.
哦，会变成这样。
Yeah, they have pretty big machines for printing. And this is one of the lines. I believe this is also a cement line. And because they have a pretty big factory, so they set up this kind of transportation system that's more efficient, so it gets to the different lines easier and faster.
对，
And you see here, this is an injection machine, and this is the actual injection process for shoes that use injection. You see here that they will inject the outsole on, and then it'll spin to the next shoe. So this is the main process. Injection machines, you might have seen smaller ones or bigger ones. It depends. There's different sizes of injection machines. And they also even make their own outsole material, raw material, straight from the raw material in terms of outsoles. And this, they're kind of reusing some of the outsoles. Maybe they didn't pass quality inspection, so they're kind of recycling it, melting it again, and using it. And you see this is various machines making some of their other outsole material. And this is where a lot of the stitching is done.
Dude, this
There
is what
could
I'm
be
talking about.
stitching
It's like
on the upper
semi-automatic.
or
So he,
material,
he
and you
doesn't
see here
actually
a lot
use a
of them
human
now are
stitch.
semi-automatic.
It's kind of semi-automatic. Yeah, and
Where it keeps some of their finished goods as well as their cement line. So you can see the cement line is pretty long. This is a cement line that
this
they
is
do
Reebok.
for
Reebok,
Reebok.
Reebok, Reebok.
And this they're trying to make sure that the adhesive sticks well. And then at every, I guess, station, there will be some quality inspection that's done at the station to ensure that everything is done right. And it's going through the different heaters, if you will, for the cement process. You'll see that there's various heaters at different parts of the station. And this is to see that, the whole cement line normally is quite long, and normally the longer it is, the more flexible it is. You might see shorter ones, but this one is pretty long. So this walk is done so that you can see how long that this cement line specifically is. And then the end of the cement line is the packaging. We actually started from the end and walked towards the start of the cement line. So now we're doing the walk back. So that's why you see kind of walking back to where we started, which is the packaging at the end. And now they're taking us to see their other QC facilities. They do their own also QC for various brands, like as I had said before, Walmart, Reebok, and other clients that they have. And now we're heading to Hangzhou, which is where a lot of the vulcanized, cement and other injection factories are. But now we're first visiting a
Inspiration.
kind of like a wholesale mall. It's around closing time, so a lot of shops have closed, but still there's some open, and we want to see the different styles. Maybe new styles that have popped up in the domestic market. They also sell to international, so it's a good place to kind of get a view on what's popular right now, what's trending, and what different constructions are possible. And this is another showroom for the factory where they're creating. These are the winter edition shoes, winter season that you see here. And this is another factory that we visited in Wenzhou that also does domestic sales. So you see they're actually pretty big on live streaming, and they were telling us their live streaming host does around 6 to 8 hours per day, and they have 3 to 4 hosts that kind of help them sell shoes in the domestic market. They also produce a lot for international brands as well. And here you see this is one of their showrooms for, I believe it was the injection shoes. This is a separate factory that we went to look at. This is for vulcanization, and you'll see here that they have various machines. Like this one is for the foxing. That's done for the vulcanized shoes. They're also pretty big, so they do a lot of the materials, produce it themselves for cost control measures.
They got a mold over there. See the green?
And then we're heading off to Guangzhou. Guangzhou is not really, we don't have factories there, but also to take our partner to see
Yeah.
our Guangzhou office, which is in
Downtown.
Just like, but there never was.
Yeah.
industrial zone. And this is just kind of a glimpse of our Guangzhou office and its area. And that kind of concludes our factory tour.
Lunch space.